Katie, I believe you are our guru as far as the controller, right? Okay,
Yeah.
so do me the favor, go ahead and start recording this, and maybe and maybe even ask Evan if we can go ahead and live stream this out on Facebook.
Sure.
Very excited for this mastermind. I know I had a lot of good reach out and feedback from people. As far as they asked for a recording, there was a couple of people who had appointments and such, and yet they wanted to be here for this. So very excited about going through this with you guys. And I trust that we're going to add value to a lot of agents' lives today. So regarding that, man, what a cool opportunity that we've got in front of us. I know that Blake and I spoke, I believe it was last week, about this new normal and all this stuff. And in all honesty, we're not going to spend too much time talking about that because you know what? We've had a little bit of a time to adjust, right? We've got a little bit of a time behind us now on how to do business, how to communicate, and what's going on there. And I'm super proud of you guys and the success that you've had, and not letting things get in your way. So Blake, if you're okay with it, I'd like to start with you, or do you want me to start with the Zimmerman so you can finish lunch right quick?
I got plenty to finish, so it's
all right, deal, man, deal. So, Blake, man, you know, how have you faced the challenges in your business, been able to overcome them, adjust to meet the needs of your customers and clients? And then, you know, we also, in addition to that, it's not just talking to clients, it's also bulletproofing your business and your transactions, right? The ones that are either already under contract or they were there and now they're a little hesitant. So kind of just break down some of the things that you have found to be successful for you.
Personally, for me, I have had a pretty heavy presence with social media from the get-go. I have Instagram that is it's mixed personal and business, and then I have my Facebook page, which I do have a business page, but I tend to mirror everything that I post there. So I've had a couple of buyers. I actually have 2 active buyers right now. I wrote a contract, went under contract this week. I'm pretty sure that we'll probably be writing another contract today. And multiple offer situations at 400 in East Nashville. So
yeah,
I mean, you know, the market is still hot, especially in Nashville. Yes, it slowed down for a little bit, a couple of weeks, just because of the uncertainty with everything. But something that I have, because Tabby and I had our one-on-one this morning, and something that I'm doing, you know, bulletproofing and also just communicating. I'm over communicating, not to the degree that it's overwhelming. But for example, I have first-time home buyers that we had an inspection this morning, and just due to obligations that were already on my calendar, I couldn't be there for the last 30 minutes like I typically am, but made sure that I sent I subscribe to Bomb Video. I love it. It's $30 a month, you know, and I absolutely see the value in there. Just because a couple of the breakout sessions that I went to during family reunion regarding this, and I've had it in my business for over a year now, is your clients are retaining more information when you're sending videos other than trying to decipher from a text. So yesterday's example was, you know, just setting the precedent for the next step or two, not the whole situation, you know, because everybody's overwhelmed right now, you know. So just since they are first-time home buyers, hey guys, just a reminder, tomorrow's inspection, go for the last 30 minutes. And then the next step after, you know, when we get the report, this is what this is going to look like, and just stop there. Bulletproofing, which, you know, I've heard some horror stories here recently about people being pre-approved and now they're not, just because credit restrictions have been tightened with some lenders. Fannie and Freddie, you know, they're going to absolutely check employment more so now than ever before, is what I'm understanding. So just setting the precedent, setting the expectations, drawing the conclusion. I put out a video on St. Patrick's Day. I'm probably going to put out another one, just drawing the differences between 2008 and now. because this is not 2008. The reason why our economy crashed in 2008 was because of the housing market.
Right.
We're in completely different situations now. You know, we were in absolutely a heavy buyer's market at that point, and we're not anywhere in that near that situation now. People have gotten smarter about their equity, you know, not using their house as an ATM. So it's just drawing those conclusions to make people feel better. Now, you can't force anything. You can only give them information and let them draw their own conclusions. So that's how I've been combating that. I've been doing virtual buyers appointments. Have not done a virtual listing appointment yet. That should be interesting when that comes along, because I'm sure it will. But that's just kind of, you know, what I'm doing personally.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I think we have a goal. I don't say I think we have a goal of this upcoming week being able to record a virtual listing appointment and be able to post that to the group so they can see, okay, this is what it really looks like with real customers and real questions and, you know, impromptu. So I've got a couple of people who are getting approval for that for the customers. So obviously they got to be okay with being recorded, right? So in addition to that, Blake, let me ask you a couple questions. I'm going to open this up to our panelists. You said something about videos and giving them, you know, you're not going to give steps 1 through 8. However, we're at step 2. I'm giving you step 3, maybe a little bit of juice for step 4, right? Are those something that you record and just send out along the process with each client, or is it catered each time to them depending on their story?
I personally cater it to each client. I believe that BombBomb has the capability of doing canned responses. I personally just have, I think it's just a more personal touch for me. Mm-hmm. I've used it with a couple of referrals since the beginning of the year that I've gotten from an LGBT networking group that I'm in. And it really has set the difference because instead of just, hey, this is so-and-so and here's his number, you know, he's going to call you. I take the extra step in just doing a 2-minute video. Hey, I'm Blake. I'm real. I can't wait to meet you. Let's do this. You know, and I've had, you know, some really, really good response. Like, wow, thank you for taking the time to do that. Because not a lot of people are doing that. There's not a lot of people that I think are familiar with BombBomb. As well as I am, but it's a video email recording service. So it shows up like YouTube for the people that don't know about it, and it's just personalized. But yeah, I typically do it catered to each client.
I love that. Now, Eva, are you doing, and Katie, cue up Eva for me if you don't mind. Eva, me and you game plan right in, I believe it was January, about videos. Have those been implemented with our full plan or have partial plan? Where are we at right now?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're coming through loud and clear. Nice.
Okay, first of all, hi everybody. I just wanted to say that I'm doing a live video on Facebook with local Spanish news that it's here in Nashville. So that's my niche, the Latino community, and we do it bi-weekly. We did one on Monday and we got 18,000 viewers. Wow. So we received a lot of phone calls for leads that we send out to the lenders, and that's how we've been doing it. And that's mostly the videos that I'm doing, but I spoke to Tabby yesterday and I'm gonna start doing videos on my own because since I'm doing every other week with this lady, so the week that I don't do videos with her, I'm gonna be doing it by myself.
Well, first and foremost, congrats on the 18,000 viewers. Whoever doesn't know Eva, all right, you need to know she is a silent assassin. Okay, she is out there slanging houses, and yet she's so gentle with her spirit and the way she approaches the conversation. You never see it coming. So I love it. I love it. Now, you and I talked business-wise about leveraging time, right? Because our time is our most valuable asset. So with the time that we were talking about, the videos that I'm necessarily referring to on this one is the step-by-step for your first-time home buyers, right? And I saw one that you did at one point. Have you done any more?
No, I'm sorry.
Oh,
I
oh, me
haven't.
and Tabby, we're all over you right now.
I know. I was gonna ask Zach if he can share the videos that he does from step 1 to 8, so I can see how they are. And I'm looking up to Boom Boom right now. Thank you for
Yeah.
that nugget. Definitely something that I'm considering right now.
That's awesome. Well, we'll get Blake to do a little tutorial for us on Bomb Bomb if we can convince him. Maybe with a good lunch or something like that, right? So,
Yes.
and of course, delivered to the door, right? So we had talked about. I'm gonna jump on this for just a second. And Zimmerman, y'all are up, right? So I'm coming to you next. And me and Eva talked at one point, and she's got a lot of first-time home buyers, right? And we all know that listings is leverage, all right? That's what we're going for. And yet, we're never going to turn away those buyers by any means. And if she's got a great resource and a great funnel like she's got set up right now, awesome. Let's talk about that. That being said, leveraging the time is of essence. So what our goal was is to develop a video series for those truly first-time home buyers. And it's a generic way, like 2 to 3, maybe even 5-minute videos, depending on the where we are in the process. Hey, this is what is next for you. This is my person that you're going to be calling that's going to be calling you. Bring them into the video like a lender or home inspector or whoever that may be. And that way she can send that out in a systematic way where it is still her and very personal. And at the same time, she can handle a lot more volume without having to, okay, well, I've got 3 hours of videos ahead of me because I'm working 18 buyers or whatever that may be. So that's a goal. And now that I know, I thought you were doing the homework because I got a video and I thought it was great. I couldn't understand a word you said. However, it was great. Now I know you got homework. So here we go. Nothing like getting called out on a mastermind, right? Evie, you're doing great, though. We're super proud of you. So, all right, guys, the husband-wife duo. I'm excited. I'm super excited. Every time I'm hanging out with you guys or it's Power Day or something like that, y'all are always jumping in with so much enthusiasm. And I don't think I've ever hung out with you guys and you haven't either made an appointment or celebrated a sale. Okay, like literally never. All right, so which is great. So let me ask you, how have you integrated command into your business and created best practices around that? And then tell us a little bit about the husband and wife team. I mean, how do you separate, business and then your home, and it's you guys, right? And do y'all have certain cutoff times? Like, okay, no more shop talk. What do y'all do? So tell me a little bit about everything.
We don't cut off.
Yeah, well, we kind of go 24/7 sometimes.
Okay.
But let's start with we've only been doing this a year, so we're newbies. But we've been in business for 25 years. Together we have a production company and we produce television commercials. So we're used to working together as a business. And so when we came to Keller Williams, we wanted to go with Keller Williams because it's a business to us. This isn't a part-time job. This isn't just goof off time. So we're really excited about the technology, and I'm pretty good at computers. And so we've really adopted command. All our people, my database, it's in command, and we actively use it. So yesterday I did what is called a bold 100. I physically texted and connected with 100 people. This was all Sphere. And basically when I went into command and I put in 615 as my search, because I wanted to talk to people in Nashville about all the storms, about all the things and where they're at. This is just a human call. But while I do that, I pull them up, I'm in command, I have their number, I'm calling them, I put it in, and then I type what comes out of the conversation real time. And when I'm finished with the conversation, I put a task. Okay, I'm gonna call them now back in a month. So it's lined up. So command's gonna tell me, hey, you need to call, and then right there is gonna have what we just talked about. And all the calls this week for them were all about how they are. Were they affected by the tornado? How are they doing? Are they working? What's their situation? Is there anything that Tracy and I can do to help? We're here to help. If you need some groceries delivered, you got somebody that's compromised. Do you need a number to call so you can do a virtual doctor's visit? We just come from
Contribution.
Come from contribution. That's Keller Williams. It's not about real estate. Now, if they have a real estate need and it pops out of that call, hey, that's awesome too. I had a 30-minute call with a friend of ours who's the caterer. And we cater my son's rehearsal dinner.
And we used him in production.
And then we've worked with him for 20 years. And I, called him and, he's had to lay off all his people.
Yeah.
And it was a, 25-minute conversation just about real life, and where things were. And then he twisted the conversation and said, my golden parachute is my building. I said, you have a building? Where's your building? Well, it's down in Houston Station. I said, really? And he said, yeah, and so that turned into a conversation about a building that may end up listing for close to $8 million.
Oh, okay. All right. That's a listing.
Yeah. So we have a commercial agent partner that will do one deal a year where we split commission. So,
so it's a referral. It's not a listing for us, but we referred it to a commercial agent.
And he also he's ready to sell his business. So with the commercial agent, she has a business partner that does that. So hooked him into those two things, and we're going to do what we can to help him maximize his return on his investment and be able to walk away from this business and to be able to have the quality of life that he hadn't had the last 40 years because he's worked himself to death.
So coronavirus for him made him realize he's been working himself to death. He's
health
unhealthy,
is failing, and
he's younger. He's young.
Yeah.
So he's having a good time not working.
Is this building vacant, and do they know that we need a new space?
I don't know if it's vacant.
Yeah, it's not vacant, but and it's probably what it is. Is it in reality? There's a big conglomerate that's bought up all those buildings, and his is the last one that hadn't been bought up, and so I think this is conjecture, but I've heard that they want to tear it all down and they're going to put a 16
who knows?
16, all 16-story building.
Well,
So
I think what I heard the biggest thing was, and Tracy, I'm going to correct you a little bit on that. You're like, it's not our listing. Well, if you get a paycheck, that's your listing, okay?
I really wish we could have our sign in front of it. I mean, but
yeah.
Just take a really good selfie, like right in front of the sign, right? Just do that. We'll call that even. No, so guys, let me dig in a little bit further, okay? Because I'm going to challenge you guys in this regard, just because I've seen it. I've seen it right in front of my eyes happen. So you did a Bowl 100. You've shown up to every Power Day. You're adopting command. And side note, with the production or with other companies or maybe whatever that you've researched before, has command saved you any money by being able to plug and play into that? And it's about $25 a month, maybe, like something of that nature. Has it saved any money financially? And then tell us about like what you do as far as you do all these things and you're purposeful about all these things. Where's that drive come from? Why do you jump into Power Day? Why do you do a Bold 100? Just break it down for me.
Why don't you talk about our son, Jack?
yeah, okay. So we have a son with autism. So not only do we have to make a lot of money to help support him, we have to live forever. So he isn't a burden to our other children. And I know that's unrealistic, but it's a big motivator. And he is a great kid. He's 23. He's done a lot, and I'm really proud of what he's done. But he still needs help, and that's a big motivator for us, I think.
That's awesome. So that's your big why, you would say.
Yeah, that's why I get up and make so many calls. I talk to FISBOs.
Yeah, no, he's great. He's awesome. He's got great skills. He's actually lives on his own in Los Angeles.
Well, with roommates.
Yeah, kind of a group home. And he works in the production world, and he does dust busting.
He's in LA. He's in LA with all the movie stars, and we're hanging out here in Nashville selling FISBOs. I mean, that's collaboration right there.
Yeah. So, one of the things we do, and one of our great coaches through Coaching Club had us time block. So we live by the time block all day, from 6 a.m. till 6 p.m. 7 p.m. at night.
So actually dings and says, stop and make dinner. I mean,
all right, so let's stick to this for a second, because with that time blocking, what has that done for you? All right, let's get very specific.
Well, it's done everything because we start our calls at 9 o'clock, 9 to 11, we make all our calls. I mean, that's just it. You know, we've prepped before. I do the prep at 7 in the morning. So we have just the calls there and we just roll through them. And then we set our appointments. We have a time block for that. We have a time block to eat lunch. In the afternoon, we have a time block to follow up. And then, you know, family, you know, we have dinner. So we start dinner at 5 o'clock and we cook dinner with the kids. We have a sit down meal every day. We've done that for the last 25 years. And that's, you know, family time. The phones are off. Ain't nothing but eating with the family. Then if we have to have a follow-up, there's our big Jack.
Hey there.
What's up, Jack? So here's the cool thing about what you just said.
This is our market center, Jack.
Yeah, here's the cool thing. Here's the cool thing about what you just said is that when that clock dings, you know it's time to move on. You can mentally, there's two things it does. You can mentally check into the next thing, right? And man, it's crazy. If you've got 1 hour to accomplish a goal, isn't it crazy how you can get that goal accomplished in 1 hour? Versus if you allot 3, it may take you the full 3, right? So it's all about how purposeful you get it. That's awesome. So Blake, I'm gonna circle back to you, and we're not done. Zimmerman, y'all be ready. I'm coming back. So Blake, I'm gonna circle back to you, man. Have you implemented any kind of time blocking, any kind of goals during this process to help keep you organized? And like you said, reaching out to your customers with videos and your database is hugely important to you. What kind of systems have you implemented?
I am not the best example of this. Tabby and I actually had this conversation and talking with my therapist last week as well, just dealing with mental health and everything that we're going through with having to stay at home. And, you know, we're still essential, so I'm still able to show property, which has been a saving grace for me, and not being just me and the dog. So that is something that is on my goal sheet this week, is to get a daily routine down, getting up at a certain time. Because let's be honest, this has been rough on a lot of people. It has been on me. There's been some days that I wake up and it's like, I'll answer my emails from the bed, you know, and, but in saying that, there definitely needs to be a routine. So that's something that I'm going to be doing this week, is to actually set up. But to answer your question, time blocking, I've always had it on my calendar. Now, do I adhere to it all the time? That's the question. You know, so I've got to be more purposeful and methodical about that, because it does work. It's just you have to make yourself do it. And I just have never been the best person to do that.
Well, and give yourself some grace too, because you've seen some great success, right? So knowing the system and putting it in there, that's first step, right? Perfecting the system takes time, takes progress. So right. I love that you see the benefit of it. Excuse me, guys. You did say one thing about getting your day going, right? And just to remind everybody here, that's why we started the MREA Energy Plan. And that's on the wellness page for our market center. So join in on that. Every single day, somebody's plugging and playing on what they're doing in the mornings, and accountability, and kind of create that group camaraderie. So Blake, for instance, this morning, I've got a buddy I work out with, and it was 5:45, and guys, I did not want to get up out that bed. The cover monster was like, oh, it's so nice and cozy. And I was like, 10 more minutes would be, no, had to get up, right? He called me out, and I was like, I don't like to get called out. So we're about to get going here. So, you know, having that accountability and that people around you would be huge. So I'm gonna kind of shift gears a little bit. Eve, I'm coming back to you. And Katie, I don't know if you've got her muted, or if that's just Eva doing it. You have had a unique situation happen, right? You weren't always with Keller Williams. Am I thinking correctly?
That's correct.
Okay. And when did you get here?
I got here on December 2018.
Okay, cool. And we won't talk about like necessarily who you were with before. This is not that kind of, we're not, you know, obviously not bashing anybody else. However, tell me about making the move, right? What has it done for your business?
Well, I doubled my business in 1 year.
That's awesome. That's like, look at Tabby. She's all dancing.
And that's Tabby's fault, because she was almost harassing me. Right. I had another opportunity to. But you know Tabby. We all know Tabby.
Yep.
I started with Benchmark, and I had great mentors there, Latinos. They opened up their arms to teach me real estate, and I signed a contract for 2 years. So they were teaching me what there is need to know about transactions on real estate, right? So I committed for 2 years, and I finished my 2 years, and I was ready to go to another firm to get educated on other things. So Remax with the Ashton Group, they wanted me to join them, and then Tavi with Keller here. So I was in between those two offices, and Tavi won. Yay, I'm here. And that was the best decision I ever made, because as I said, I committed to all the classes at the beginning of the year when I was kind of slow for most people. I was at the office almost every day, taking every classes there were. I listened to also Daniel Askew. He was like opening my eyes in a lot of things, marketing wise and presence. So that's how I doubled my business, being with Keller Williams.
All right, so you doubled your business in 2019. Obviously, I mean, 2020 just means we got to double it again, right? So here's my question is, having 2019 as kind of the, okay, here's how it's ran, and the Zimmerman said this, here's how it's ran as a business, right? We're not in this just for the weekend warrior type thing or a house or two a month. Like, this is going to be a business. We're going to be purposeful, right?
Yes.
Having that set up and that foundation laid in 2019 with all your hard work, and just applying the systems and models that we've got, how has that set you up now for 2020, and what kind of goals do you have set up for you?
Okay, I hire director of operations part-time, and she's helping me. She's taking a lot of phone calls. We call it scrubbing people before sending them to the lenders, so that facilitate a lot the process. I convinced my husband to get his license, and he's also with Keller Williams. Yay!
Okay, all right.
So we're gonna. He's gonna be focusing on the buyers, and I need to transition with the listings, which I have 4 as of today and 1 more coming next week. So Tavi, please forgive me about the videos. I got more listings. Just I'll work on the videos, okay?
I love it.
So my husband is focusing also a lot into command. He sent text and command, and I'm so proud of him. So this is what we're gonna focus on 2020 to have him run. He already have a contract.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, on his first 30, 45 days, he already have a property under contract. So I'm so excited.
Well, a lot of people come in, definitely intending to do that, and whether they do or not only requires 3 different words, right? Go to work. That's it. That's it. At the end of the day, go to work, right? So yes. Very happy for him. Very happy for you. What is, if you don't mind sharing, if you want to keep it close to your chest, that's fine. What is your goal for this year as far as unit count or volume or whatever you've got set up for you?
Okay, so just for myself, Jesus.
Yeah, well, for your team, everything. Hey, you better tell your hubby to sell at least 10 to 12. I mean, he's got to pull the weight around here.
Oh, he will. He will. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. I'm gonna say 14 million for 2020.
Oh, I love that. I love that. All right. All right. Mm-hmm. Well, now you've said it in front of everybody. We all are entitled now to hold her accountable to that. Okay.
That's well, Marcus, Eva may be selling herself a little bit short there.
Oh.
I think she ought to share that really her big why and her passion is just to become the #1 Hispanic realtor in Nashville, right?
Oh.
So she's got a rabbit that she's chasing. She's had some great mentors and has a lot of great people in her life. And yet she knows that she can really dominate that market by the end of 2020 if she continues to do the work she's done.
I'm telling you guys.
Might be 20 million anyway.
Yeah. I'm telling you guys, Silent assassin. Y'all got to keep an eye on her.
You do billboards, right?
I did one. I did one on Nolensville and Harding Place, but it's super expensive. And I shared the cost with the lender. And I just learned that you shouldn't be married to a lender. So it's really expensive to do one by myself. They cost about $8,000 for 6 months.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it depends on the location, right? So yeah.
Well, yeah, it helped me a lot.
And talking about something like that, whether it's $8,000 or $80, right? If I get a good return on investment, man, I mean that's worth it, right? It can be, because if I invest $8,000 and all of a sudden I get 50 back, I'll make that math work every single day, right? So Blake, I'm gonna come back to you real quick. With your BombBomb videos, and it's $30 a month, and with a shifting market, the riches are in the pennies as far as our expenses and where we really need to take a look at our entire accounts.
It's $49 per month. I'm looking at it right now.
Oh, Blake got that VIP access.
I got it at family reunion.
Can you send me like a discount coupon?
There we go.
I signed that at family reunion. They were one of the sponsors in the market center or marketplace, so I think that's why it's a little bit less.
There you go.
Okay.
There you go. Well, I mean, let's think about it logically here. You were talking about $360 for the year, right? And while we all can agree that's not a huge amount of money in return, in regards to real estate. However, if it's not giving you any kind of return or anything like that, we got to analyze it. So what would you say from the videos and kind of having that service at the ready? What kind of return, or do you have any kind of tracking on your sphere? Or, what kind of impact has it made for you?
It does come with the tracker, so it's really fun when an agent tries to tell me, "Oh, I didn't get your email." Oh, yeah, you did, and and you opened it this many times, and you clicked it this many times, because it gives the analytics, in that aspect. My biggest thing is because I just, this industry has changed so much, and it is, we're now a technology company, that it just, I feel, moves further towards that. Because yes, I'm not the first agent. I'm not the first agent in our office that has used BombBomb. I see the benefit of it, and especially from my clients, that when I do send videos, when I do remind them of certain things like I did yesterday, they're retaining it a lot better. And there's less questions because I feel it's being it's being more thorough. So that's the benefit for me. And just the feedback that I've gotten from my clients. I've had, people that I haven't met yet, but they get that video with me, introducing myself and, hey, let's set something up. This person sent you over, yada, yada, yada. And they, I've gotten a lot of thanks behind it. So it's setting me apart from other agents that they've dealt with.
That's awesome. You're creating a moat around that database and around your business. That's phenomenal. And, I love that you said that. You said reminding them of things and kind of giving them more and more ammo. I love that because my workout partner, and a good buddy of mine, he's in insurance, right? Well, when I think about insurance, he maybe tells me a thing or two. It goes in one ear, not the other, because that's not my field, right? That's not, I don't need it right now, so I'm not really retaining that information. Well, if we think about our buyers the same way and our sellers the same way, it's okay, well, they may not be in the game now. However, they still need to hear the good, right? They need to hear what's going on. They need to be updated because, man, the minute they think about it, they're going to think of you or the person who's giving them the most information. So I love that you said that, Blake.
And they also have the ability to replay the video.
Yeah.
It's always going to be in their inbox. So if they have a question, they can go back and replay it. But, I want to say that the one of the breakout sessions for Karen Carr out of Savannah, which is who I follow with my YouTube and that kind of thing, is the retention rate for versus reading an email is like in the low 90%. So people, it's very beneficial. And again, they're not having to, some people are not going to watch it again and will ask questions, and that's fine. But you got to think about when you're having these buyers presentations, you're having your listing consults, Oftentimes it's a month or two before you're under contract, and they don't remember what you said.
Right.
You know, so this is just an easy touch, an easy two-minute video. Hey, just reminding you, and I think it works.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Hey, Candace, what you got?
Quick question for you guys. So, well, question, and then I'm trying something new today, so I'll let you know. A friend of mine that works at Mercedes, out at Music City Mercedes, so he does a lot of sales, and he does a lot of he said that his business really spiked when he started doing little 1-minute videos with a specific car, and he would send it to potential. And so anyway, I'm going to try. Miley and I, we have a couple of clients that we work on together. And so we're going to do a couple of 1-minute videos from potential. We're just going to go view the homes and do like a 1-minute video and send it to them just to keep them. We don't have them as clients yet, so we're still trying to woo them. But anyway, that was just one thing I was going to add. And then the second thing I was going to ask, just the married couple. Okay, I think, do you go by Bob or Robert?
Bob.
Bob. I think I saw you in the Brentwood Kroger the other day, but it was like a week ago. But I literally had no makeup on, so I ran actually completely down the other aisle. I was like, this is not a good representation of Keller, no. But anyway, I saw you at the self-checkout. So, but okay, so as far as a married couple, so Ted's over here, but so he's getting ready to get his license. Like, when you guys make calls together, do you have your own databases? Like, are you working, I mean, I know you're working in unison, but do you have your own personal goals? Is it couple goals? Is it, you know, strengths and weaknesses within the couples? Like, does one person handle more admin and then, or the other person? Or I know I appreciate the time blocking. How does it break down responsibility wise?
Let me go.
Go. You go.
Well, I think that both Robert and I have our own set of command, and sometimes I go, wait a second, this guy's in my command. Don't you have him? So it comes down to personality. Robert and I have different personalities, and people are different. So we can tell right away, okay, you're going to take the lead on this one, or I'm going to take the lead on this one. That's how we do it. And so if Rob's taking the lead, I'll do some admin. Or if he's doing his bold 100 like he was doing yesterday, I was, you know, doing some administrative stuff. And then if there's anything he needed me to follow up on or look up, I would go do that. So I think we just play off each other that way. I mean, I know it's not a very good answer. What do you think?
So, you know, you have to go off the dynamics of the relationship. We talked earlier, we have been in business together for 25 years. And started this dual career. Now we're full-time real estate. And one of the great things about the couple at Keller Williams is you have one cap. That's huge. That's not the deal with other real estate companies. So it really works out as a business. So, you know, we both lead generate. I do a lot of the research. Tracy does a lot of the calling. Once we get to like a listing, an appointment, you know, we both talk and share, and, you know, you just feel a connection, you know, with people. And if I'm the one that's really got that connection, then great. Sometimes it's a guy, sometimes it's a gal. It doesn't really matter. And just, you have different strengths and weaknesses. I'm pretty good in person, you know, that's kind of my thing. And I'm a real service guy. And so that is part of it. But it's really exciting. It's an awesome opportunity as a couple. I think it's, and we don't do a lot of our own admin other than doing our command stuff. We hire a contracts to close person, and she's our partner. And, you know, that money is the best money ever spent. Nothing ever gets missed, you know, and we stick out front getting the sales.
Also, we did hire a person to, what was she getting your addresses and stuff for command?
Yeah, so there's, you know, people you can hire. It's a daughter-in-law for us. They went in our database and helped cleaned it up so we could get there faster, because it's a tool you need to have. So she could, you know, go through get the addresses and the blanks that we didn't have.
Sounds familiar, right, Tabby? Tabby got after me. She's like, stop entering phone numbers
Yep.
into your database. Stop it.
That's the.
So I have a gal coming over tomorrow, one of my friend's children who's looking to make $10 an hour. And so she's going to enter, these are all I have left that are not in my database, but it's still, I can't see the numbers anymore, you know? So that's super awesome. Okay, well, and Miley was talking about you guys the other day. She said you guys have put the Keller system just like so into practice and been so successful. So anyway.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Testimony.
And for us,
for the couples on here, I want to give Rob and Tracy just a little bit more like kudos, because they have really figured out what works for them. And I don't believe it's the same for every relationship. And Tracy has done an amazing job of just knocking out FSBOs, right? Like Rob will give her a list and she goes off and does all the phone calls and
right. Time out. I make the appointments. Rob has a big dynamic part of that too. So.
Right. It's like she is nailing these setting up the appointments. So they've really figured out a rhythm. And I think that that's just different based on your personality types, right?
Right.
Tracy's the DI and Rob is the SC. So they've really worked together on leveraging their strengths.
Nice.
Can you go into what you're doing to get those FSBO appointments?
I was about to go there. Yeah. Let me say one thing. Let me say one thing before we get there. Let me say one thing. That's awesome. And I think you got to also consider, Candace, is definitely for you and anybody else that's on here and they're beginning that husband-wife team, Eva, right? Anybody else that even not even husband-wife, just partnership, right? Give yourself some grace at the beginning to find that stride. You know, they had 25 years of already leaning into each other's strengths and knowing, hey, that's probably my role, right? So at this point, they're just like, no, you know, you're not good at that. I'll take it. I got you, right? So give yourself some grace at the beginning. And then obviously, I think these guys will always be open to helping with any advice, right, guys?
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
But we also celebrate the small wins, and I think that's so important. I think Tabby was talking about that. That really keeps us hyped, you know? It's like, oh boy, I got an appointment. Yay! You know, I just think it's important to celebrate when you make a really tough phone call. I know that he's making a really hard phone call that he doesn't really want to make, but he's doing it anyway. And I'm proud of him, you know, and we're proud of each other. So,
and, you know, and that's it. It's, you know, it's our jobs to connect, you know, it's our people. And, you know, and one of the things about the FSBO, because Blake was asking about that. Well, you know, we have an inside track on that. You know, before becoming realtors, we bought and sold all our properties as FSBOs.
Because
Tracy
I didn't have a realtor that I trusted. We didn't like realtors. We just didn't have one we could trust. So Tracy marketed them all. We sold 6 of them in Williamson County. Usually sold them the first weekend on an open house because we priced it right. We had it dialed in. Times have changed since then.
It's
called Zillow.
Yeah, and it's impossible for these people to sell their homes. And that doesn't mean they're not going to try. And, you know, so we come from contribution. We've been there, we've done that. And
I've been on the other end of the phone calls where realtors had called me and said the most incredibly rude things you can imagine. And it's like, that's why FSBOs are mean and ornery you know, because they've had a million phone calls and you just have to appreciate what they're hearing on. And you have to tell them that, hey, you know, I'm really sorry that you've gotten all these terrible phone calls. Yeah. And it's just, I can't believe realtors do that. Why would they pick up the phone if they're not going to be nice?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Let me jump into the details of that with you guys. All right. Because obviously, and Blake has heard me and Tabby and several other people all throughout the organization. Blake, you've been with us, what, is it 8 years?
Next month will be 6.
6 years. Okay, 6 years. Yeah. So Blake's heard it. Leads listings leverage since day one, right? Eva, it sounds like we are gravitating a little bit more towards listings as opposed to relying on solely on that buyer base. So I'm going to ask you about that, and then guys, I'm going to come back. Side note: the Zimmermans are right here on my screen, so if I do that, that's y'all. Okay. So I'm going to come back to you guys and ask you some specifics, like Blake asked about. Tell us the true approach to those FSBOs, okay? I'm going to keep us on task here so that we've got some Q&A at the end as well. So Eva, what is the importance to you and your business, your growth and hitting goals to now focus on listings?
Well, the main reason is that I have my husband with his license that is going to help me with my buyers, because my community is they new to USA, so they just came here 20 or 10 years ago, and they haven't buy their first house. So first I need to help them buy their first house. That's why I got all these buyers, and after that I'm going to help them sell the first house and buy the second one. Now that I have my husband helping me with that, that's why I can focus on listings right now.
So Eva says husband, me and Tabby say leverage. Right? So you're not losing that business. You've got this pillar of business set up. You're making sure that pillar is standing tall, and
Yes.
you're adding a second layer to it.
That's correct.
That's awesome. That's awesome. We're very proud of you and happy for you. I'm excited to see what 2020 brings. 20 million. Sorry, had a little something.
Oh my goodness. Well, they're saying 20 because my first 2 years I was close to 5 on the first and second, and when I came to Keller I was really close to 10. Almost by myself, like 99% by myself. Now that I have my husband, hopefully we can get more than that.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, he's got a double business. He has to. Yeah, pressure's on for him. So
right, Marcus, and Eva and Blake are in similar spots. What Eva just said is she's starting to see that referral business, right? Like she helped them 2 or 3 years ago buy that first property. So now it's the perfect season for both her and Blake to start leveraging that and those relationships and really pushing more towards the listing side of the business from their sphere.
That's a great point and a great add-in for what Blake's already doing, right? He is creating that moat around his business to where when that time comes, what's the average, 5 to 7 years? Or I think it's a little bit longer now. I think it's right at 7, maybe even 8 that people are staying in their home. However, that being said, that again, that aligns perfectly with where he is, right? Anybody that bought first 1, 2, 3 years, at least they're starting to consider that. And because he's doing what he's doing, they're only thinking of him. So kudos again, brother. So, all right, I want to sell a FSBO. I want to get a FSBO appointment that's actually an appointment, not one of those like, hey, mind if I come see the house? I might have a buyer, right? So tell me how you're coming from contribution. Tell me how you get an appointment. Before you answer either one of those, tell me how long you have followed up with a FSBO. What's the longest you have followed up with a FSBO and then gotten it?
Okay, so we'll start there. The longest was probably 7 months.
Okay.
A follow-up. And actually there was 2 in the same week. And both were 6 and 7 months.
One you got on Power Day, January. I will never forget it. Yeah, I know exactly that.
So, it's coming from contribution. We keep in touch with them. We ask them, hey, have you sold your house? Is there anything we can do to help? When do you think, Tracy does great at this, is that she goes, so, when are you going to be ready to list? Because these ones that we're doing
How long will you continue to sell it yourself before you'll think about hiring a professional?
Yeah.
And, so we do that after we have probably 2 or 3 really, we go on the initial listing,
right?
Introduce ourselves, bring some value, and then we ask if we can just follow up. When
I get the appointment, it's, and you say, oh yeah, can I come see the house? But that's what I do. I mean, okay. I say, hey, is it okay? Would you be offended if I came by to see your house? And they say, why? And I say, well, because the inventory is low. And my husband and I are calling every house. We want to see every house on the market right now.
And we do have buyers, and we do want to see everything we can right now. So it comes from truth.
So then, some of these listing appointments or we've got right on, like the first time we meet them, we come out to see them and they say, yeah, are you ready to go?
And here is good examples of our very first one. So Tracy called, got a
I used
listing.
The Ignite script that says, I promise not to ask for your listing.
And so we go and we talk with her. She'd had it on the market for about a month. She'd
It was
sold,
a beautiful house.
and she it was perfectly staged. She was, like an interior designer, and she sold all her properties for sale by owner. And
so we had that to talk about.
Yeah, so it had been like 30 days, and she wasn't having any luck. And I said, it's not going to work. It's changed. Zillow's changed. Everything's changed. And you're moving to Cincinnati. You need to really think about listing your house. And she was like, well, she got to the point where she realized it was going to be tough. And she's like, I'm going to have to give this to somebody. And I said, whoa, wait a minute. Okay, now that's a different story.
I'm like, but I promised not to ask for the listing.
Yeah, well, no, and then she said, well, Tracy and I'd like to interview for the job of selling your home. And she said, well, can you do it now? And I said, well, no, ma'am, I can't. I told you I wasn't going to bring a listing presentation, but I can do it tomorrow. Can we do it at noon? And she said, yes. And then Tracy was
I hadn't even had my license at that point.
And then Tracy's like, oh, well, we can't do it tomorrow. Let's do it Monday. And I'm like, no way. Somebody could come in between now and Monday. We're doing it tomorrow. She said, we're not prepared. I said, we'll be prepared.
Yeah.
So we went in that next day at noon and had her
listing. We crammed with Sharon.
And I was like 3 weeks in bold. This is how we knew an agent. Got my license less than a month in. And I was sitting at the kitchen table and I was making my presentation. And I was like, Rob Daniels was right in my head, my bold coach. And he was like, if you get to that kitchen table, you can't leave. Do not leave that kitchen table unless they ask you to leave, which they didn't. And so it was a spar. I mean, it was 30 minutes. Fun banter back and forth. She, was like, oh, I got Keller Williams agents that'll do it for 2%. And I said, well, those are discount agents. That's not us. And just went through a whole thing. And while we're,
Oh, and I gave her a box of Girl Scout cookies.
Oh, there you go.
And I said, well, this is worth 0.5%.
I was about to say, that makes up for that full percent and more, if you ask me. Yeah.
So long and short was, finally, she's like, and her husband was sweet because, he's like, I'm sorry, but she loves to do this. She's a negotiator. And I'm like, hey, man, I'm in. Let's go. So finally, she asked if they could go and talk, and they come back and they give us a listing. And I'm so excited, but I'm so scared because I'm like, I've never done it before. I'm trying to fill out the paperwork. And but it was funny. She said, you weren't going to leave that table, were you? I said, no, ma'am, not unless you asked me to leave.
Yeah.
So, sometimes you got to do it right on the spot. Right. What I always say is that if they're looking, like you can make a close, go for the close, forget the rest of the presentation, let's sign the paperwork. We can go do that some other time. That all the stuff is just pulling them in. You just got to read them and see what they're acting like. And if they're with us, they're going to work with us. Sometimes, and the long game comes at that. We've made a connection. We brought contribution. We're good people. We want them to sell their house. Good luck. We follow up. If they sold it, we're like, yeah, man, good for you. You got your house sold. Put it in your pocket.
I want to say something else. I mean, you have to do the way we do FSBOs. You have to go on a lot of appointments because you're not going to be the right realtor for everybody. And that's just truth. I mean, sometimes you don't have a rapport. And so I still follow up, but you just realize that you're not going to be it for everybody.
And another good way of saying that is, and not every customer's for you.
Right. Exactly. Right. Yeah. There's houses we walked into and Rob said, oh, let's go. I'm not going to sell this house.
Ooh, that's scary. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I love that. And guys, with 5 minutes left in our mastermind, here's what I'd like to do. And as far as anybody in the audience, what I would request from you is that you put any questions in the chat thread or show some love, say some thanks if you don't have anything as far as a pressing question. I'm going to go to each panelist. Blake, I'm going to start with you if you don't mind, bud. And if somebody's out there watching right now, what's one thing that you want to make sure they hear from you or that they heard from you that you want to re-emphasize already?
Two things. Touch your database, touch your sphere. Just make those calls. Just say, hey, I'm checking in on you. I did it all day yesterday. Didn't talk to a lot of people because I have a lot of people in my sphere that are very fortunate and still have jobs that they're working, and I had some sweet text come back, from it. Thank you for your message. We're great. We'll call you back, yada, yada, yada. But touch your database and your sphere just to check in on it. If business comes from it, it comes from it. But that should not be your leading question, go through Ford, get to see, legitimately how they are. Because my sphere has kept me in business. So I have very personal relationships with a lot of my past clients. So it, very much friend level with a lot of them. And over communicate, but not to an overwhelming amount, like I'm giving, okay, this is the next step, maybe the step after that, but just having that positive reinforcement so they're not overwhelmed, because everybody's going a little nuts right now.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. All right, Eva.
Same, calling my database. I was doing that last week and I probably got like 2 million possible transactions there. And just what he said, call to see how they're doing. If they want to buy a second house or whatever, they will let you know and you will remain on their minds. And that's great.
That's awesome. And focus on listings, yeah?
And focus on listings. Yes, sir.
Yeah, get them, Eva. And forgive me, what's your husband's name?
Eduardo.
All right, tell Eduardo he's got a year ahead of him. All right?
Oh, yes.
Get Tabby after him if need be. All right, guys, what about y'all? Y'all going to wrap us up for the day?
Well, FSBOs happens to be our thing, and open houses, that's another great opportunity. Sphere, of course, it's our job to get in touch with our sphere to see how they're doing. We've got to make those calls. It's not their job. And it's awesome, because if you hadn't talked to somebody since high school and you're just checking in on them, they're not going to say, man, what a jerk, you hadn't called me in 25 years. No, they're going to say, man, I'm so sorry I haven't called you. Or stay in touch. You're going to get so much positive out of that, and you're going to connect to them, and that makes them feel good. So that's a huge win. But I think it's so diverse. There's so many great things you can do at Keller Williams to pick what it is that suits you. And it may be multiple things like Tracy and I, or, it may be just one thing. Maybe it's open houses. Maybe you don't like to call. Maybe you don't like to do this or that. Just pick the one thing that is best for you.
Can I say something?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. I just wanted to prove that I'm going to focusing on listings. I got my postcard.
Look at that.
What's the value of your house? Call me if you want to know how much your house is worth.
Tabby, she's letting you know. She's letting you know. I'm doing it.
So the one other thing is that
I get to talk
okay,
to
you go ahead.
I want to say, if there's anything that anybody who's listening can do, is to make the hard phone call.
There we go.
First thing in the morning, and be bold, and then pat yourself on the back and celebrate that win for making a really hard phone call. And the worst thing that can happen is someone will say no.
Yes,
Yep.
and you get to hang up the phone call and call somebody else, right?
Right.
So I think one thing that all three of you have done, and Blake, I know you're tough on yourself. However, I'll still give you some props in this for sure. You wouldn't be in this mastermind panel, okay? But and now you're over here, so that's why I'm looking this way. All three of you, three groups of you, have adopted the systems and models, all right? And I think that's why you're seeing great success, either long term or instant success, or instant doubling, things like that. So I applaud all of you. And I want to thank you each for your time today and for pouring into our agents. I know that a lot of people are going to hear this and they're going to resonate with you because everybody's in different stages of their career. So thank you for being the leaders that you are. And we really appreciate your time. Yeah.
Welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, guys.
See y'all later.
Thank you.
Go to work.
Go to work.